Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Shedding the Bitch Radio, where you can discuss, debate, and get advice on how to discover and shed the bitches of fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and negative mindsets so you can realize your dreams and life purpose and create and accelerate the riches you want in life. Join us here live every Tuesday at noon Eastern and dialogue with us at 818-572-2910. You can also chat with us at Blog Talk Radio /SheddingTheBitch or share your stories on our website at sheddingthebitch.com. Whatever the bitch is that's holding you back from living your life to the fullest, it's not worth giving up the riches in life that you deserve. So call in now and let Bernadette Boas know what's holding you back. 818-572-2910. Good day, everyone. How are you on this beautiful Tuesday? Hopefully it is beautiful wherever you are. In Atlanta, I know we are having somewhat of an early spring, though we're going to be getting tons of rain over the next 5 days. And yet, I continue to keep all of you in my prayers that are dealing with flooding and major avalanches, both of mud and of snow and of everything else, and just kind of keeping all of you in my thoughts when it comes to this crazy weather pattern that we've had. Now, that said, I don't know about you, but, on February 2nd, I guess it was, when the groundhog, looks for his shadow and he didn't see it, which meant or means a shorter winter. But then there's a competitor of his, and I guess Puxtawani Phil, the main groundhog, is out of Pennsylvania, and he's the one who did not see a shadow and is predicting a short winter. But then there's a New Jersey Milltown Mel, and he's predicted a longer winter. So, it doesn't matter, whoever, whatever you believe in. I am kind of looking forward to both spring, both just the warmth and the sunshine, but also the daylight savings time, which is on March 10th. Mark your calendars. It's just 3 weeks away, and I don't know about you, but I have been counting the days because there's nothing, I don't know, I wouldn't say nothing worse, but I like to be woken up at 6 a.m. by the sunshine, and I like to get on with my day early like that because the sun is up and the air is, whether it's cool, breezy, or even warm, it just sets me off with a great amount of energy, especially when I am, as I've been talking to you about a lot over the last 5 or 6 weeks, especially when I or you are feeling stuck in any way, shape, or form, whatever degree that might be. When it's dark and cold and dreary in the morning, it just makes it that much harder to get up and out. And so I am kind of looking forward to those without rushing life, without rushing the days away. I am looking forward to both the warmth of spring and the sunshine of daylight savings time. So you can mark your calendars for March 10th. I know I already have, and like I said, I'm counting the days. But whatever the weather is, warm or cold, you can always download and cozy up to one of our past episodes. We have been talking about finding love within yourself, and then, of course, as a result, in life. And so that was our Valentine's episode last week. Our Ask Me Anything episode at the beginning of the month talked to multiple things. It talked about relationships. It talked about your finances and budgeting and cash flow, whether it's in your business or in your personal life. We talked about whether if you are stuck or maybe you just aren't a big goal setter like I am traditionally, and we'll get into more of that. What can you be doing to really kind of lay out what it is that you want to accomplish this year? So ask me anything. Oh, wow. excuse me for cutting you off, but we are getting some major thunder, but yet I look outside and I'm not sure why we are. So hopefully that won't affect, because we have a tendency to have weak systems around here in this part of Atlanta, and we get a lot of brownouts, I'll call them. Not blackouts, but brownouts. So I'll just pay attention to that, and hopefully it won't disrupt the show. So anyway, so our Valentine's show, we had Ask Me Anything. We had an episode around shedding the excuses because they kill your dreams. And that continues to get a lot of traction and get a lot of downloads and listens. So obviously, people are feeling as they are working their way through the second month of the year, that maybe they're dealing with a lot of excuses, a lot of avoidance, a lot of distractions when it comes to kicking off their resolutions or their goals for the year. So that was a very lively show with a lot of tips and advice for you. And then there was my birthday episode on January 29th, was the actual day of my birthday. And I was giving away free copies of my book, and you can continue to do it. You just need to go out to Facebook, say hi, or pose a question or a story, whatever you want, and I would be more than happy to send you an autographed copy of my book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business. So go out and check out all those episodes. You can download them directly from iTunes or any of your streaming services. You can also go to sheddingthebitch.com. Scroll down, you'll see radio, and all of the episodes from our past years are out there as well. But today we are going to be talking about unique and uncommon ways of getting unstuck. And this became very attractive to me in a discussion, because I feel that as a coach, as a mentor, as someone that a lot of people rely on for their own motivation and inspiration and guidance and direction and achievement, I wasn't myself, as I've been going through this period of being stuck on my own. I haven't found the usual things that I even coach my clients on working for me. And maybe that's a little bit extreme. I needed something new. I needed something different. I needed to add flavor and challenge to my usual and typical, but very effective. They're very effective tools and strategies that I've always leaned on, and therefore I've coached on. But I just wanted and needed to go and look for different angles to take on this life of being stuck, because we all get stuck. Even I get stuck as a coach and mentor. And so I went looking, and I thought, well, you know what? Other people might want to also learn and understand different ways and strategies and tools they can use to get themselves unstuck. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So your rich question, and that's a question that we pose to you as we go into our conversation. We want to get you grounded in the topic and consider, if by chance you are experiencing it, consider your own state of mind, your own state of being, your own state of action as it pertains to that topic. So that's our rich question, and today it is all around being stuck. So the question being, what do you experience or feel when you are stuck? What do you experience or feel when you are stuck? Now, you don't have to share your thoughts. You don't have to share, or no one will be checking in with you. What we want you to do is really be aware and honest with yourself as to your emotional, mental, spiritual, physical state of being, and around any particular issue, challenge, I'm drawing a blank. But I just want you to be present and real with yourself in regards to anything that you might be experiencing. And in this case, this week, it's about when you are stuck, what do you experience or what do you feel? And I'm hoping and expecting that as we go through this conversation, you'll find ideas and strategies and tips that you can then apply to that answer to that question and get yourself moving in a direction that also helps you get unstuck, or at least kind of moving forward in a more productive, effective way. All right? So what do you experience or feel when you are stuck? Rich tags, if you're out on Facebook or Twitter with us, you could be using hashtag get unstuck, hashtag feeling stuck, or hashtag shed the bitch. All right? So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into these radical. Some of us may find them radical. I know I did on a couple of them, and we'll talk about that. But some radical, new, and different ways of you working through being stuck. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. We are inspiring individuals around the globe to discover, confront, and shed their bitches of fear, insecurity, and negativity so they can create the riches in their career, business, and life they deserve. Be sure to check out Bernadette's book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business, available on Amazon and sheddingthebitch.com. We also want to thank our sponsors, North Georgia Tax Solutions, who offers a broad range of tax services for small to corporate-sized clients. Go to ngtaxsolutions.com to learn more. And Parker House Virtual Services, who provides virtual assistance and social media support for small to medium-sized businesses. Email Deborah Parker at deborahparker.va@gmail.com for more information. To become a sponsor or advertiser on our program, email us at mediarelations@sheddingthebitch.com. Shedding the Bitch Radio airs every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time. Be sure to go to blogtalkradio.com/Shedding the Bitch Radio and follow the program for all of the updates and announcements of our guests and show topics. Now let's return to Bernadette and Shedding the Bitch Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about being stuck and how to get unstuck, but not in the typical traditional ways. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, what does it mean to be stuck? How do you know if you're stuck? Have you ever kind of put that title onto what you might find to be a place of discomfort or a place of just emptiness or lack of motivation? But how do you know if you're stuck? Here are things you might consider. And you can kind of make a list of this and then just check off which one, if one, several, or all of them apply to you, because it might help you define and put a title or a theme to what you might be feeling and experiencing. So maybe nothing in your life excites you, or your work just seems mundane, repetitive, or boring. The people in your life are more agitating than they are inspiring or motivating. The effort of your work or play seems exhausting or unrewarding. Maybe you're feeling empty, void, blank, or just bored. Maybe you're tired, exhausted, or even exasperated. And those all can come up in very, very different ways. Maybe you don't have anything you look forward to, or very few things that you really look forward to doing or experiencing. Maybe folks around you, family, friends, colleagues, have noticed you behaving withdrawn or disengaged or unhappy or agitated. Again, you can make a list of these things and kind of check off which ones apply to you. And there's nothing wrong with it being one, several, or all of them. I have to admit, as I really have been spending the last 5 or 6 weeks, I've shared with you my ongoing journey of being stuck, that I've felt most, if not all of these things. that nothing in life really excites me. And yet when I really, thought about it, so what I did, and this is kind of a suggestion for you, is I took this list. I checked off which ones I feel apply to me. And then I made sure that I looked at the opposite, meaning it's not as if nothing in life excites me. So I kind of said, well, wait a minute. It's not that nothing in life excites me. However, what doesn't excite me? And then I even looked at what does excite me. So like my puppies excite me, or, my pickleball playing, believe it or not, excites me, gives me, pleasure. I look forward to it. When it comes to your work seems mundane, repetitive, or boring, I would have to look at, and you might want to look at the fact that it's not all areas of your work, but some of it you just feel like you're on the gerbil wheel. Things are just always looking the same, feeling the same. A friend of mine last night was sharing that he's a realtor, and he was, he shared that he was feeling as if his pitches just seem always to be the same, that it's just almost exhausting. Like another one of these ways to tell if you're stuck is, things are exhausting or exasperating or just tiring. And he was sharing how, his pitches, presentations, however you want to, call the sales process, just seems like he goes through the same old motions each and every time. So whatever you might be feeling, whatever you might be experiencing, whatever might be kind of just holding you down or in place, just kind of look at it and be okay with that. So take that list, identify which ones apply to you, and then I'll be sharing some different ways of looking at things, so maybe you can get jolted into action that would result in you finding yourself getting unstuck. So whether you are feeling one, several, all of these things, every one of us do get stuck at some point in our life. So we'll talk about some unique, new, some might consider them radical ways for you to get unstuck, or at least identify and be okay with it. Then if you have any ideas of your own, if you've experienced this and you want to share your own tips or advice, and or your experience with applying one or more of these strategies, go out on Facebook on Shedding the Bitch and share with us what you might be experiencing yourself. All right? Now, I will note for you, kind of diverting for just a bit, that earlier thunder that you heard has now broken into very dark clouds here in Atlanta, and a major thunderstorm going on outside and a major rainstorm going on outside. Hopefully you're not hearing it and experiencing it, but I'm also seeing now quite a bit of lightning. So at some point, I'm not plugged into anything that might cause an issue for myself and or our connection. But if I do feel as if we might get cut off, I might just have to cut our discussion short, but I'd come back, record it, and make sure you get a hold of it. Just wanted to give you that heads up. All right, so let's talk through some different, unique, and maybe you might consider them radical ways of getting unstuck. But the first one is to actually give in to being stuck. Be okay with it. Don't force yourself to fix what you might feel is. Now, this is what I find to be radical. I always want to fix things. I'm a fixer. That's kind of, how I'm made up. Whether or not I was a child or, a professional in my work, or just the adult, the being that I am, the 57-year-old woman that I am, when I see something broken, I want to fix it. And yet I've learned over the last 6 weeks that I just can't always focus on the fixing of something that is broken. I just need to let it be broken. Now, on the flip side of that is at least trying to focus on and being aware of something that might be broken and understanding it, trying to at least dig into it a little bit to understand it, and then, decide to be okay with it and or work, your way through, not necessarily fixing it, but at least understanding it. But don't force it. Be okay with it. The fact that you're stuck. Let go of it and everything that has to do with it. Now, I've mentioned to you more times than probably Deborah wants me to, but I've mentioned to you how, Deborah of Parker House Virtual Services, she's online right now. She produces the show. She follows, your tweets and Facebook postings, and then she posts them for our community as well. But she had mentioned to me several weeks back when I mentioned to her my experience with being stuck, she just said, let go. Just live in the moment right now. Do what, you need to be doing right now. Don't worry about, a grand plan or your goals or fixing the problem. And it's provided great relief and great comfort and great room to kind of walk through this journey, if you want to put it in those type of woo-woo type of words. But it's true. And, so it's just letting go of feeling guilty, which many of us do, and especially if we are women. We feel guilty if we're not constantly, going at life and working like a horse and being productive and delivering on things and getting things done and multitasking. It's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. And that's also why I wrote earlier, one of the clues that might tell you that you're stuck is what told me that I was stuck, that I found everything exasperating. Not necessarily exhausting or tiring, just exasperating, which just kind of does take your breath away, but not only just in exhaustion. So be okay with that and acknowledge it and, kind of say, okay, I'm just going to, feel it, experience it, and live with it for as long as you can. And we'll get there in a minute. And now this one I definitely felt to be radical because I am such a planner. And that is to just go opposite from planning, go opposite from being a planner, from having goals. Don't worry about it. Don't have an agenda, so to speak. Even go as far as having a schedule. Go with the flow of every day and just minute by minute. Let me back up. Moment by moment, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week. And let's hope it doesn't go month to month. But yet here I am. I'm about 7 weeks into this. And it was very uncomfortable the first several weeks, very unbelievably uncomfortable for me because I'm such a planner and a goal setter and an achiever and delivering results. And when I feel I don't have any of those things locked in, I feel very out of place, very uncomfortable. Yet I just had to just say, let it go, and just go moment by moment, minute by minute, and go with the flow of each day. So if you should decide to go with the flow, if you're called to sleep in, sleep in. Don't worry about that alarm clock that makes you just start getting frantic about having to, attack your obligations, your responsibilities, things that you're accountable to. If you don't have a schedule, don't worry about it. Take things, some things are routine, whether you have a family or whether you're single, whether you have a business of your own or whether you work for other people. Some things are kind of prescribed for us. We work from 9 to 5. We have meetings every Monday, at 10 a.m. We have the kids to be picked up at school at 3. So forth and so on. Have those type of appointments. I'll call them an appointment. And yet, if you don't, have a full blown out schedule around those appointments, don't worry about it. Don't feel like you have to go at it 100% of the time. Go at 100% 1 hour at a time, whatever the case might be, but be okay with letting go of even that schedule. If you don't have anything to do, don't do anything. Sit on your couch, go for a walk, go out to lunch with a friend, or choose to do something you feel you want to do, not that you're obligated to do, and then just let everything else kind of take care of itself. So go opposite from planning and this was these first two, don't forcing yourself, being okay with being stuck, and going opposite from planning are the things that for me over the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks have been very uncomfortable, but I've learned and I've pushed myself through experiencing those things. And quite honestly, Deborah was just asking me before we got on the program how I'm feeling. And I know she didn't mean kind of just from my, feeling stuck, but overall, because I also have been very sick. I'm not anymore, so that should have been put in past tense. But, so I'm sure she was asking just all around how you feeling. And yet at the same time, I shared with her that, from my stickiness perspective, I was feeling much better. Letting go of it, not having a plan, just going with the flow has felt very, very good. But it didn't at the beginning. It really didn't. And then a renter and a friend of mine, actually a couple friends of mine, have also taught me about running away from it all. So that's another idea you might have, just running away from it all. And I mean literally. So should you decide, like my renter, I rent my main house, as I've shared with you, and she just decided, she's been going through a lot of transitions in her life. She literally decided from, Friday late afternoon to Saturday night, and then Sunday morning she acted on it. She just decided she was going to up and go away for a month. And, she took care of her dogs and got them situated. She took care of whatever arrangements she needed, in her world. And within a day and a half, from the time she decided to the time she actually jumped into Uber and headed to the airport, she decided she was just going to go away and kind of do what she needs to do for about a month. Another friend of mine took off to the Georgia, this wasn't recent, this was about a year and a half ago, took off to the Georgia mountains to a retreat. Came across something, as she was working her way through her day, and she saw this retreat opportunity in the Georgia mountains and just took off. And another friend of mine went, and this was a couple years ago, went off to Italy and just said, you know what, I'm going to go off to Italy and do what Italians do, drink wine, eat good food, paint landscapes, walk the countryside, and just kind of to them, each of them, give into feeling stuck and void and empty and just unmotivated with their usual and the comfortable life that they had been living up until that point. So you can choose to just run away from it all as well, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I would absolutely love to do that right now. I wouldn't mind going off, as I shared with you in the past. Last August, I went and joined a couple of my siblings with their kids and spouses and friends, and went off to a remote, rustic, private island, in Canada, near Ontario. No Wi-Fi, no electricity other than for about an hour a day, and that was late into the evening. And really, my family and friends kind of didn't think I could actually survive it. And actually just absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved disconnecting. Absolutely loved just being right there at that moment in time with my family and the kids and whatnot. It was fabulous. So you might choose to do it all and run away so you can then kind of reconnect with yourself. And that would be another thing, and I would think I'd have it close to that, but I don't. Another thing would be to just disconnect from it all. take a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. And 3 days is probably the best to do. You shorter than that, and you haven't kind of walked through it all. And I say that because I've done it for a day, and then I've done it for 3 days, and then, of course, like I said, I did it for those couple weeks. And I wouldn't, that is radical, and I wouldn't suggest you have to go that far. But 3 days is really good because you find yourself, just like vacation. If you take a week vacation, you always think you need that couple days to get there, a couple days to unwind, and then the next thing you know, you're finally relaxed and really enjoying the present, and the next thing you know, you're having to pack up and leave. So that's how I would feel about disconnecting from life, disconnecting from social media, disconnecting from your phone, disconnecting from your laptop and email, disconnecting. Even you can go as far as your friends and your family and just being with yourself. Maybe you have your pets with you. But, just being with yourself for 3 full days. Start on a Friday and come back to life on a Monday morning. And you'll find a great amount of renewal and energy kind of come back into your being. So there is an opportunity as well. Let's see. Before I get into this one, I think we'll take a break right now. And when we get back, I'll finish up some radical or at least new ideas that you might leverage in order to move through your journey of being stuck and hopefully getting unstuck, should you choose that you're ready to do that. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. We are inspiring individuals around the globe to discover, confront, and shed their bitches of fear, insecurity, and negativity so they can create the riches in their career, business, and life they deserve. Be sure to check out Bernadette's book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business, available on Amazon and sheddingthebitch.com. We also want to thank our sponsors, North Georgia Tax Solutions, who offers a broad range of tax services for small to corporate-sized clients. Go to ngtaxsolutions.com to learn more. And Parker House Virtual Services, who provides virtual assistance and social media support for small to medium-sized businesses. Email Deborah Parker at deborahparker.va@gmail.com for more information. To become a sponsor or advertiser on our program, email us at mediarelations@sheddingthebitch.com. Shedding the Bitch Radio airs every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time. Be sure to go to blogtalkradio.com/sheddingthebitchradio and follow the program for all of the updates and announcements of our guests and show topics. Now let's return to Bernadette and Shedding the Bitch Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking new and radical ways of you getting unstuck. Should you be? Some of you might not be. And if you're not, and or maybe you've been stuck and you've worked your way through it and have your own ideas and tips and strategies for us, please go to Facebook to our Shedding the Bitch page and share them with the community. I don't ever espouse that I have all the answers. So if you have new, different, or things that even just work for you, we'd love to hear about them. And keep in mind, if you go out to Facebook to our Shedding the Bitch page, say hello or go as far as giving us a tip or a piece of advice, I'll send you a free autographed copy of my book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business. All right, we were talking some new and potentially radical strategies for you. I wouldn't call this next one radical, but it's a good way and a new way of you looking at how and why you're stuck. And that would simply be to make a list of how you got to the point of being stuck. And that sounds quite logical that a coach would propose you do that. Quite honestly, I I tend to be the type of coach myself that doesn't necessarily look to the past to kind of identify where you are in the present. But I would suggest that you do so. It helped me tremendously, almost like the list I gave you at the top of the hour. You can go back and listen for that as to what causes or what are the symptoms of being stuck. But make a list of what kind of brought you to being stuck. I know for myself, I had mentioned previously on other episodes that I had already had my goals and my plans laid out for the year, but several conversations, several experiences, several situations that I was in from between Thanksgiving and Christmas all of a sudden had me looking at all of those plans and goals very differently. And the next thing you know, I knew I wanted to change them and or make adjustments to them, but I found myself in the state of being stuck. And I don't look poorly on that, and I don't regret, because I don't have regrets. I don't regret that those situations and experiences caused me to look at my goals and dreams differently. I just needed to kind of figure out why that was. So I did make a list of, and you can make a list of what brought you to this point of being stuck. And then what I want you to do, beyond or not going beyond that, just making that list, is I want you to just X out that list as if like you're just like saying, no, I'm not having it. I'm not focused on the past. I don't care how I got here. All I really care about is moving forward. But at the same time, I want you to forgive yourself for allowing those things to happen that brought you to that point, so you can almost, if not literally, pull off that page, rip it up and throw it away, and just move forward and be okay with the fact that you got to that point of being stuck. So that kind of gave me some great relief, maybe not great, some relief in what I was looking at from how I got from having my goals and my dreams laid out to where I was not even questioning them, just knowing that they weren't quite as honest and as true as I wanted them to be. And now it's a matter of just finding out what that truth and realness is for myself. And maybe, you can work through the same for yourself. So make a list of what got you to the point of being stuck. Put a big old red X maybe through it, or tear it out of your journal or your notebook and rip it up and throw it away and say, I am good with how I got here. Now it's a matter of moving forward through this. All right. The other thing would be to acknowledge it aloud. And what I mean by that is I certainly have an opportunity with all of you, and I tend to just do it even in my speaking and my coaching. I don't hide from my truth. At least I hope I don't. I don't think I do. And I just share it openly, because we are all human and we all go through highs and lows. And there's nothing, at least for me, there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to hide from. There's nothing to feel guilty about. That's why I probably don't have any regrets. And acknowledging it aloud kind of gets it out of your head, where God knows the games that we play with ourselves mentally. And it kind of, loses its power, as many gurus would say, once you put it out there. So another way that you could acknowledge it aloud, because, majority of you aren't radio hosts or speakers or whatever the case might be, but find that tribe of people that you can voice your stuckness, if that's a word. It's not. But you can voice your feelings of being stuck with. Now, I want you to, find that tribe, but I want you to consider a few things, all right? I want you to find those people that are curious, interesting, and challenging. There are people that you can trust. There are people that can ask you great questions. They're not afraid of asking tough questions. They'll dig deep in what it is that you're experiencing, even if it does mean going to the past, looking at the present and considering the future. They're creative and innovative in their thinking. Now, thinking, and I'm emphasizing that for a reason, and stay with me here. They might just be simple and uncomplicated. I would even say the input that Deborah provided to me was simple and uncomplicated, and yet it was so profound to me. It really was. I was like, oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. What if I just kind of let go of having a grand plan and I just kind of live in the moment? So simple and uncomplicated is just as good, if not better, than, creative, out of the box, or innovative thinking. But there's a big but here. Beyond all of those things, these people, these individuals, these disclosures and discussions and collaborations, they're people who are not meant to give you advice or coaching or counsel or answers to your story. So let me emphasize that again. These are people that you can share and dump and disclose and pour your heart out and cry to or laugh with or be embarrassed or ashamed with, yet they're not there necessarily to give you advice, at least at first. They're there for you to just be able to purge and dump on and just share with. This came to real light for me last night when I was talking with my friend John. And I think he was caught off guard, as many people are when it comes to me. He was caught off guard when all of a sudden I was, revealing my vulnerabilities. And I was, all of a sudden sharing with him that I'm stuck. Many people don't have that impression of me. They just always see me as very focused, as very, goal-oriented, as very results-driven. They don't picture me ever being stuck. And it's probably because in the past, and maybe many of you are experiencing this, and that's why I'm sharing it, is you just don't and haven't purged or poured your heart out to other people because maybe you do feel embarrassed or ashamed or, you don't want to come off, especially me as a coach and professional person who's supposed to be helping other people, supposed to be helping you to not be stuck. They don't, necessarily want to see their own coach or mentor or consultant stuck or frustrated or not with the answers. And yet, you know what? We're all human. And I think that what makes me great at what I do is the fact that I've learned just recently over the last several years to just be okay with being vulnerable, okay with being raw, okay with not having it all together, and acknowledging that. So that's what I want for you, is find that tribe, find those people who are curious and interesting and challenging. And why that is when you do turn that corner of you wanting to just purge and you wanting someone who just is nodding with you, their head, and they're supporting and consoling you, or at least motivating you and inspiring you. They're doing all of that without having to provide their story, their advice, their, expertise, if it is professional, or their counsel. They're just simply there to receive whatever it is that you're experiencing it. And then you might, at that same time, but later, or maybe at a different time, a day, a week, a month down the road, you're then seeking specific advice or counsel for someone or someone else's story. Then that's where, then being curious, interesting, and challenging will come in, because whether they kind of go and walk the same type of life and path that you do, or they're totally in a different realm of experiences or challenges or expertise, they can provide you newness and a different way of looking at things and these radical ideas that you might not have considered before. But I would propose that it's not immediate. You need a sounding board. You just need somebody that you can spew all your stuff to and doesn't have an opinion about it, doesn't have a judgment about it, doesn't have advice to put on you. You just need at first to be heard. We all want to be heard. And I tend to, fall victim and not victim, guilty of always wanting to fix things. So we go back to, the beginning. I definitely am a fixer, and I want to fix you. I want to fix problems. I want to fix things that are broken. And you know what? You don't always come to me. You're not always going to a friend, going to a colleague, going to a family member and wanting to be fixed. You just want to be heard. So find those people and spend time finding those people who will just hear you. And at some point in time, you may ask them, I'd love for your insights, advice, guidance, counsel, whatever the case might be. But it's not right away. Okay? All right. Another suggestion would be, this isn't radical for me, but it is radical for a lot of people. Journal your way through this. Now, you might even add journaling your way through this and speaking it aloud. And what I mean by that is journal it and even use it as a blog. I was mentioning to Deborah before we got on here that all of a sudden something spoke to me. I have not been on Instagram. Never have. Been on Facebook, Twitter. You can find me anywhere and everywhere. And I have an account on Instagram, and God knows how I have followers because all I think that's out there was a photo as of yesterday morning. But something spoke to me over the last few days that I should be leveraging Instagram. Instagram to tell my story, to work through this experience of being stuck, but also my coaching and my guidance and my tips and, my story. And so last night I happened to jump on as I was sitting in traffic. I'd pulled over right by my house to actually do the video, so I wasn't doing it while I was driving. But I just had to kind of express kind of this experience I was having in this traffic jam. So that might be what you do. You might find a way to definitely journal your journey, but also you might want to combine that with speaking it aloud and sharing it with other people. Because the reason why I do this show, the reason why I've been doing this show on my own versus having guests is because I've needed to speak it aloud. And I'm, like I've mentioned, I'm not hiding from it. And I know many of you are experiencing being stuck yourself. And some of you, as I've mentioned, have gone through that and are on the other side of it and have your own story to share. So that's what I'm hoping that we can all do together. And you might find that you journaling it, which might turn into a blog or a vlog or something, will find yourself getting through your feelings of being stuck and void or blank or empty or uninspired or unmotivated as a result of it. All right? Now, this next one really spoke to me, and I can't take credit for it. I have to give it to Jennifer Loudon of jenniferloudon.com. She's a personal growth pioneer and a writing coach. And when I saw this through my research and my kind of search for guidance online, I came across this, and I love it because not only because I'm a writer and a journaler, I love to journal. I love to kind of put in writing what I'm going through to work my way through it. I love this idea because I had not thought of doing it in this way, even though I'm a screenwriter, and you'll understand why that is in a minute. So her exact words of a suggestion of getting unstuck is to write your story of stuck from 3 points of view. First, in second person, you climbed the stairs, for instance. Only the you that is speaking is the stuckness. So you're speaking from the stuckness point of view. The stuckness actually talks, she says. Then the second point of view is write it from the point of view of an omniscient narrator, the voice of God, or the one who sees and knows all. So you might not believe in God. So whatever comes to you of a point of view of a narrator, of someone who sees and knows it all. All right? So you're speaking from the second person, you, from a point of view of a narrator, and then you're speaking from the first person, from your point of view. Let each story unfold in its own unique way. Each one will probably be very different. So as I mentioned before about making a list of how you got where you are, she's also suggesting speak from your heart, your own point of view, and, tell a story of how you have got yourself to the point of being stuck and what impact that's having on you. So from your own unique way. I love this idea, and specifically for that middle part, from the voice of God, because I have mentioned to all of you that I've been reading this daily devotional book called Jesus Calling. It's from Sarah Young, and it's written, what it is it's daily devotions based on scripture, but then she has one or two paragraphs speaking from the point of view of God, or in Jennifer's words or viewpoint, of someone that you consider is one who knows all and sees all. And I've been loving it because it does put a whole different viewpoint, which is what Jennifer's objective is. And so I absolutely love that. And I will definitely, and I just found this just recently, and I haven't started doing it, but I will start and work on these 3 viewpoints. So that's an idea for you as well. All right, we're not even going to take a break because I want to make sure that we get all these tips and ideas in for you. So that's from Jennifer Loudon. You can always go to her website for more ideas, jenniferloudon.com. All right, so another thing would be, an idea for you would be to do something totally different. So, it might be, and this came to me just yesterday, I was reached out by a recruiter, a corporate recruiter, and about a job opportunity that she thought my LinkedIn profile perfectly matches. And of course, in the past I would have, just immediately, kind of balked at ever considering a corporate job again. And yet I am leaving myself open to considering anything and everything and definitely trying new, different, and radical things. So I went and looked at that job description, and I suggested to her that, yes, let's have a conversation. Now, between you and me, everything within my body kind of tremored when I read that job description, and again, exasperated came up for me when I read it because it took me back to my corporate days. And that's all I'll say about that now. And I'll give you an update on it in a future time. But quite honestly, considering that radical new idea, definitely jolted me and definitely got me thinking about what I absolutely love and what I do and what I've loved in the past and kind of what this opportunity might provide to me. So I'm suggesting that you might consider. Maybe it is a new job. Maybe it's a new hobby. Maybe it's a new kind of program or training or class. Maybe it's a new schedule or routine. This I definitely also have found radical for myself because I am very routine driven. My alarm clock goes off at a certain time. I have a routine, with the morning news and with my breakfast and with my dog and with, just throughout the day, I am very routine oriented. And yet over the last 4 to 5 weeks especially, I've just let all of that go and not necessarily answered to my usual routine. So you might try something new. I mentioned in the last several weeks, I've started an improv class. Yes, I've done similar classes in the past, so not real radical. but yet it wasn't something on my radar at all. And yet it spoke to me, and I've been doing that. And that definitely has opened up different and new, what I'll call areas of my heart, areas even of my mind and my brain and my thinking. So you might try that for yourself. All right. So then I would suggest only when you get to the point of really needing to get unstuck. Maybe you're just feeling some desperation or from some urgency to get back to work, to get back to life, to get back to generating income, to get back to being productive at work, to get back to living. And maybe that's, as simple as your social life or being present for your children or your spouse or partner. Remember one of those clues of whether or not you're stuck is whether or not people around you are kind of becoming aware of you not being engaged, you not being present, you not being happy. So only when you get to that point that you really need to get out of the state of being, unlike myself, right now I don't feel an urgency yet. I don't feel a desperation. And I'm okay with that, believe it or not. So if you're experiencing the opposite and that you got to get through this, then that's when I definitely would suggest going back to what I kind of find to be very basic, very foundational to somebody, and that is really think about what is it that you want in life? What is it you don't want in life? What makes you happy? What doesn't make you happy? What would you like to achieve or accomplish or take on in this week, this month, this year? And define it into a SMART goal. And if you don't know what SMART goals are, we're not going to talk about them here. You can go back and look at any one of our past episodes and or onto our blog on sheddingthebitch.com, and you'll find blog posts and articles and episodes around SMART goals and how to define them. Maybe you just do one thing a day to immediately in order to kind of push your way through getting unstuck. Maybe it's looking at job openings or updating your resume, or maybe you need to make some tweaks to your business plan or do something differently with your clients or your products and services or your relationship or your social life. Maybe it is as simple as going and finding a sport or a place to hang out or a activity to do or a class to take. But just start doing and moving towards something, even if your heart's not in it. Just, take one action a day to kind of stimulate that action, that energy. And lastly, should you need to, hire a professional, hire a coach, hire a mentor, find a counselor, find a psychiatrist. I love the fact that, you'll see all these insurance commercials now talking about, talk to your doctor about not only your body, but your mind. And if you need to do that professionally, do so. All right? And let us know if any of these ideas or radical tips or tools work for you. Next week, we're going to kind of touch on that last one. We're going to talk about the difference between coaches and mentors, counselors, and consultants to see how they might be able to help you and feed your not only getting unstuck, but maybe just you're not stuck and you just want to accelerate your achievement and your successes, all right? So I'll look forward to having you right back here next Tuesday. But I do want to thank you for allowing me this space and opportunity to help you, but also help myself. I absolutely am grateful to every one of you for that opportunity. So I'll talk to you next week, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. Join Bernadette every Tuesday at noon Eastern as she helps you shift your bitches to riches. And the dialogue is always going on at sheddingthebitch.com. See you next week.